Have you ever wondered about the bones of a story? What did the outline look like before the characters hijacked it? Ophelia Kee always wondered the same things about her own stories. As a discovery writer, the chaotic pantser style, not even the author knew how the tales in the Draoithe Saga would go until they went. Backward analyzing one story while busy writing the next tale or two somehow never happened. Apparently, OK put things off long enough, and some fancy computer magic will provide us with those long-wished-for story overviews. We can finally X-ray the tales from the dream and see their skeletons. Shall we investigate the next story in the dream?
All right, let's dive into the Draoithe Saga, a world where all those myths and legends you heard about as a kid, well, they're all very, very real. Today, we're following a woman who has been pushed to the absolute edge, only to find that her only way out comes from a very unlikely rescuer, one who offers her not just an escape, but a complete rewrite of her entire reality. Wow. I mean, that one line just hits you, right? We're starting with a character who has completely lost hope, who's in a place so dark that death literally feels like the best-case scenario. But her escape doesn't come from some hero on a white horse, no. It arrives in the form of a dragon. So, let's get into part one, a dragon's rescue. Our story kicks off with Raven, a woman whose life has been totally and violently turned upside down. She's been yanked out of her normal life and thrown into a living nightmare. And it's from the very bottom of this pit that she is suddenly and mysteriously pulled out. I mean, can you imagine the whiplash? 1 minute, Raven, her real name is Leonora D'Souza, is just a young bartender in Dallas, trying to make rent. The next, she's a lab rat, an unwilling test subject for some shadowy group that messes with immortal shifters and something the story calls broken magic. And her situation is it's brutal. She's being held in this dark warehouse, and every single night she's put through these horrific ritual tortures. The books describe her as beaten, bruised, and just completely broken. At this point, Raven's done fighting. She sees no future, no escape. She's just waiting to fade away. And then, right in the middle of all this horror, he appears. This powerful, mysterious man who just effortlessly takes out her attackers. But instead of more violence, he shows her this incredible gentleness. He wraps her up in a blanket, carefully carries her out of that hellhole, and introduces himself with this simple, completely disarming question. Her rescuer's name is Ash. Okay, so getting rescued is one thing, right? But waking up in a completely new reality? That's something else entirely. Raven is snatched from one nightmare, only to wake up in a world that, honestly, makes even less sense. A world hidden just under the surface of our own. You see, Ash didn't take her to a hospital. He brought her to a place called Draoithe. And Draoithe is basically a secret kingdom, a sanctuary, where everything we think of as myth, shifters, magical creatures, all of it is real. And it's all living right alongside our world, completely hidden. And this is where Raven's fear comes roaring back, but in this new, confusing way. She wakes up in this unbelievably luxurious room, and this handsome guy, Ash, is being so kind to her. But then, she sees one of her attackers, the man who hurt her. And he's dressed as a servant, taking orders from Ash. In that moment, her fear just skyrockets. This isn't just a rescue, it's some kind of twisted reality she can't possibly understand. And that brings us to the central mystery here. Who is this guy? This incredibly powerful, ridiculously wealthy man who commands monsters and smells like brandy and sweet tobacco. Who exactly is Ash? As Raven starts trying to piece things together, she's hit with this number, 629. Yeah, that's how old Ash is. And that just perfectly shows how far from a normal human her rescuer really is. So this becomes the burning question for Raven. Is he her protector, or is he just a more powerful kind of captor? What could he possibly want from her? I mean, she has to figure out what kind of being can even live for over 6 centuries. And the answer? It comes from Ash himself, and he says it like he's telling her the time. Just a simple, impossible fact. This is the moment that just shatters any piece of the old world Raven was still clinging to. Her handsome rescuer isn't just an old, rich guy. He's a dragon. But he's not a dragon like you might be thinking. According to the lore, Ash and his brothers, they weren't born, they were made. Centuries ago, some powerful necromancer fused the souls of dead warriors into magically created dragon bodies. They were basically designed to be immortal protectors, super soldiers, collared to a king. But hold on, because that's not even the only bombshell Ash drops. Turns out, Raven isn't fully human anymore. During her captivity, she was forcibly turned into a maned wolf shifter, and because the magic was forced, it's unstable, it's literally destroying her mind. Ash tells her she only has a few weeks before she fades away completely. So, let's recap. Raven is dying, her only hope lies with the very dragon who rescued her, and Ash, he presents her with a way forward. It's a solution that's both a cure and a massive choice, one that offers her incredible power, but also a whole lot of peril. The solution he offers is for her to become his Valkyrie. Now, a Valkyrie isn't just someone who rides a dragon. She is a dragon's fated life meet. Through this magical bond, she would share his power, gain his magic, she'd even get wings. But, and this is a huge but, she would also become the only thing in the entire world that could destroy him. And the process of becoming a Valkyrie sounds, well, it sounds intense. It starts with a dragon's bite, which is painful to kick off the bond. Then they share magic through blood. From that, she gets all this incredible power and wings. But that final step is the most mind-blowing. She becomes his single vulnerability. She literally holds his life in her hands. And this is where we see Raven's complete transformation. She's no longer a helpless victim. She's in control. When the King of Draoithe offers her a place in their world, she doesn't just accept it. She negotiates. She demands that Ash, her dragon, stays with her. She finally takes control of her own destiny. So this brings us to the new reality that Raven chooses for herself. She decides to stay, to face this bizarre, magical world, and to build a new life from the ashes of her old one. And what does this new life look like? Well, it's a pretty surreal mix. She gets a job as the bar manager for a magical kingdom. She gets a personal servant, who just so happens to be her former attacker, now magically bound to her. She gets a fortune in treasure, a promise of total protection, and, as she cheekily puts it, her very own pet dragon. Ultimately, Raven's story leaves us with a really fascinating question. Her world was completely shattered by monsters, and yet her only path to survival was to place all of her trust in another kind of monster. It really makes you wonder, if your world was broken, could you trust a dragon to build you a new one?
I sincerely hope you enjoyed this view of a story skeleton, glimpsing the characters, setting, and plot structure along with the twists within the writing in this tale from the Draoithe Saga by Ophelia Kee. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more original stories and audio adventures. A special thank you to OK Music Writers for writing and for sharing the Enter the Dream soundtrack. It's more than a story, it's an experience. Welcome to the dream.